Today, 30th of May, still critical condition. Officers relativising sorry, afflicting crippling, high-risk humiliation and degrading, apologising into the power of my own life. And also liar, relativising liar. I've recently been making videos like this, discussing or stating how much of my life I've lost, and officers have internalised that feeling and bombarded me accusations, killing my power to speak about it, saying liar. In other words, pulling out all the ability to think that I've got any entitlement to justice or rights to power within the system into liar. So they're bombarding me with accusations of being a liar, stripping out any recognition they've done anything wrong at all. I've said I've never been in a sexual relationship. They've stripped it out, bombarding me with accusations of liar while humiliating my power. In other words, whatever they've put in the system that's not happened in society, they're bombarding me with accusations of liar. So I'll just summarise what I'm saying. They gather their own evidence in society and put it in the system, and most of it's illegally obtained or incorrect, and then strip out the power, calling you a liar or calling me a liar, and then apparently that's them. Apparently that's how they create power, apparently. They misuse information, gathering information in society that's wrong, misleading, incorrect or illegal, put it in the system and then strip all the power out of the individual, calling them a liar. They've essentially apparently created power for themselves by committing crime, because they've wrote somebody's life off illegally and created their own story. So everything that's gone in the system that's illegal has been stripped out of me, calling me a liar internally. So I've accepted the fact now that I'm a liar. That's what they've created themselves, and it'll be in conjunction with a individual's own deficits or issues. So it's costing me every day of my life. Either way, the pressure on my internal organs that they're internal into an institutional self is getting worse and worse. The amount of physical pressure on my jaw and skull is getting worse and worse, crushing my internal organs. My ability to breathe is getting worse and worse, and also Irish transgressions and threats into the power of my own life. That's because they've created my life internally and been pulling my power out into it for over 20 years to create a human punch bag. Either way, critical condition, internal breaking session still continues, serious Irish transgressions, crippling, humiliation, degrading, still making their own life, creating their own punch bag internally, costing me every day of my life. Also, they've been militarising your polar into an institutional self while afflicting, crippling, degrading whilst going into my rights or accumulating my power. Critical condition, ability to think for myself still internalised, struggling to breathe, power of my own life being internalised, pressure on my internal organs getting worse and worse.